Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, madam.
Right, okay. Channa, last time you were not there.
Yeah, ma'am. I'm so sorry I was
You're
unable to.
busy.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Then how are the things? The others? We have Salma. How are you, Salma? Then Shamala and Situmi. How are you all?
Fine, ma'am.
Hi. So, how is the weather like here in Colombo now? All throughout these days, no? It's raining, 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 and today is also light rain. It's not drizzle actually, it was raining. Now, of course, it's actually stopped. How is the weather like in your area? Is it raining? Okay. Now, did I gave you some homework, right? No, madam. Please talk. I gave you some homework. No, madam. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, okay. I gave you some work, right? No?
Someone said, ma'am, no. Actually,
No. Right.
yeah.
Okay. And I want to actually ask you these questions before I actually get into today's work. Did I do Bloom's taxonomy with you and writing specific objectives which are into the three domains and how they are to be made smart? Did I do that part with you? Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, okay. Then last time, did I discuss what are the components of a lesson plan? Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. And today I told you that I'm going to get you to write lesson plans. Am I right? Right. Okay, now uh, we'll do like that. And today, my daughter is coming after 2 weeks, right? So she's on her way. So she will be here in another 10-15 minutes. Now I take a 5-minute break just to say hi, and I have actually made dinner for her. So to serve dinner, they will have dinner. I will actually come back. I need 5 to 7 minutes from you, right? When she's to walk in, still she's on her way. Is it okay? Did you get it? Oh,
Excuse me, ma'am. One has texted that she can't hear you. In my case, I can hear. And
others, can you hear me? I don't see any messages anyway.
uh-huh.
Uh,
And as they are not
maybe.
talking.
All
Uh-huh.
right, okay. Now, am I audible? A little bit of windy and maybe I'm breaking. So now, is it okay? Right. මට උත්තර දෙන්න ඕනේ. Otherwise, I really do not know whether
Yes,
y'all are
ma'am.
listening or not. Okay. Y'all have to respond to me. Otherwise, I don't know whether y'all are listening or not. Y'all actually are they at the other end? I don't know. So I want to tell you now, I will get you to write lesson plans today because I have discussed writing specific objectives and then the components of a lesson plan. And I remember right, if I remember right, I have shown you how to write a lesson plan. Anyway, now educational technology is everything related to teaching and learning process. So we started with approaches and then methods and then theories of learning, and then techniques, and then writing lesson objectives, and then lesson plan. This is how actually we built up our kind of content. And your assignment number 2. Now you have done your written assignment, okay? You have to do a speaking assignment. It's a presentation. I will first talk to you about the presentation. Then you will actually see today's work. It's very important for you, right? So I want, this will be your presentation. That will be the last day of your module. So last day is 29. Am I right if you look at the timetable?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, then you have 2 weeks, Putta. So what you can do is, you have to select a lesson of your choice. You have to write a lesson plan. You have to actually talk about your lesson plan. That means you have to you don't have to teach, okay? You don't have to teach. You have to show your lesson plan and explain how you're going to actually conduct this lesson with the rationale. Rationale means, why have you organized it like that? Why you have organized your lesson plan like that? Why have you planned your lesson like that? With the rationale, you have to actually explain your lesson plan. So I have to actually give you the marking criteria. For the lesson plan, the proper lesson plan, I give you mark. For your fluent presentation also, I give you marks. Because a teacher has to actually be a very good communicator. You have to talk clearly. So for that also, I give you marks. So I will give you the marking scheme also when I set the assignment this weekend 7. So today I'm going to get you to write your own lesson plan. First one, you're doing it with me. So next week will be you're writing your lesson plans, and you can bring them to the class and show it to us and lead a discussion. But it's not the final one. The final one, it has to be something new. That what you bring next week to the class for discussion is not the assignment. For that, you have to actually develop a new one, right? But what you are doing for homework and bring next day as a lesson plan, then you actually practice it, and then I can give you feedback when you actually show it to us to next week. So now get ready to write your lesson plans. Can I show you a sample first? Another sample first?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Yeah,
better.
okay, right. I will show you an English one, because we all know English. Because of that, we can easily understand. So I will show you an English one. I want to ask you one thing. That one thing is this. Now, when we write lesson plans, we actually a second, write. Now, I have spoken to you about teaching models, right? I have spoken to you about teaching models now.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, what are the 2 basic models I discussed? What are the 2 basic models I discussed?
PPT model and 5E
All
model.
right, very good, very good. PPP model and right, very good. That is yes. So normally we are actually looking at the 5E model because it's teacher-centered, okay? It's highly teacher-centered. Because of that, I will actually get you to have a look at a lesson plan which is actually written using the 5E model. 5E model of teaching. Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Now this is one format. There is no the format of a lesson plan. Different institutes, they use different lesson plan formats. But whatever the format is, it doesn't matter. The components of a lesson plan, what you should write in a lesson plan, they are the same. They are the same. So I am using which is being used by Teacher Education Institutes Government, NIE teacher training colleges. Okay, what they are using, because it's a bit comprehensive. If you actually write a lesson plan using this format, you can actually adapt it in any format that you get from your school. Because the schools also sometimes they give you a template. Use this template and write the lesson plan. So it doesn't matter what the template is. The components are the same. So I'm using the standardized one used at NIE, National Institute of Education. So now normally we have to run. Now I told you that it's a grammar lesson. Sorry, it's an English lesson. Are you all okay with? Because last time I discussed science also, no? Last day I discussed a science lesson.
Yes, ma'am.
නෑ පුතා.
Yes, madam.
හයි කියන්නකෝ.
Yes, madam. We discussed.
හයියෙන් කියන්න. I can't follow you. You all
Yes,
have to come to the mic. I'm also doing the same. Huh?
Yeah, we discussed.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So now, then you know the components, right? Here the date. The date you're going to do the lesson. Right? The date you're going to do the lesson. If it is for tomorrow, you have to write tomorrow's date, right? And the grade and the class, it may be grade 6, B and C. Right? So grade is 6, class is B. Like that. Subject here is English language, because we are now looking at English language. Right. And then the lesson may be lesson 10. Lesson 10, we don't, right? Here, the competency and the competency level. Why these competencies and competency levels? Now, I want to show you some teachers' guides, teachers' instructional manuals, right? Why? Because they actually talk about competencies to be developed, not only for English, even for science, even for mathematics. They talk about competencies to be developed, okay? So I will show you some teachers' guides. So we will look at not English, some other, right? Let's see what this is. This is science. Can you see the science teacher's guide?
Not yet, ma'am.
It's again, I have to share maybe. Okay, Puta, I'm sharing. Now here I'm showing you the science teacher's guide. So you go down, you can see there are competencies to be developed. Competencies related to science. So I'm showing you. So you have to refer to books. We call it resourcing. So what are the competencies related to science that we have to actually develop? So let's see. Course objectives. These are course objectives. Here, these are the competencies. Look at this. Competency 1. Here, levels. Competency 1. Here, you can see competency 1. I'm highlighting. Look at this grade 6. A competency related to science. What is it? Explores light. Sorry?
Ma'am, it's not
We
visible.
can't, yeah, we can't see it. Ma'am.
Now,
Not yet, ma'am.
Your screen sharing is paused. Why is that? Stop share and then let's see. Right. Now your screen share is loading.
Now it's visible.
Now you can see. Now this is grade 6 science. Okay. Grade 6 science. So you have to do resourcing. That means you have to read them and come to know what competencies related to science that as a science teacher that you have to develop. That is how that you actually get ready for a lesson. Just looking at a lesson and doing is not right. You have to actually tally it with the competencies. So you have to resource. Suppose now you are doing Cambridge, that Cambridge books have the teacher guides. So you have to go to the teacher guides and actually see what skills or competencies means skills. What skills or competencies related to science you are supposed to develop by doing that lesson. So here I'm using the government books. Here, competency 1 related to science. Can you read it? I'm highlighting it. Explores
Life
and life processes in order to improve productivity of biological systems. That is the big competency that you have to develop. But under each competency, there are competency levels also given. Now look at the first one. What is the competency level of the competency 1? Explores living organisms around us. Suggests some criteria to classify organisms. Then the competency level to be developed in science grade 6. What is the competency 2? Investigates matter, properties of matter, and their interaction to enhance the quality of life. So that is competency 2. And it has competency 2 levels. 2.1 identifies the diversity of things around us. Classifies matter based on their properties. Examines properties of matter using simple activities. So how come that you get to know now competency 3? Science utilizes various forms of energy, their interaction with matter and energy, transformations by maintaining efficiency and effectiveness at an optimal level. So, එකත් levels තියෙනවා. Develop awareness about energy sources and their uses. Performs activities to illustrate the uses of certain energy sources. Accepts the importance of sustainable utilization of energy sources. So, they are the levels under that competency. So, without referring to that, you will never be able to actually get to know what exactly that you're supposed to teach, right? Now, Puta, my daughter has come. I stopped for 5 minutes. Is it okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, no worries.
Give me 5 minutes, okay? Right. I come back in 5 minutes.
Okay, ma'am, okay.
Okay, are you there? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Ma'am,
Right, okay. Sorry about it. I took 5 minutes from you. And so we have to actually always refer to the teacher guides that you have a lesson and you refer to the teacher guide. So now suppose now you are actually not referring to a textbook. You're teaching something out of the textbook. So still that your knowledge about these competencies and competency levels to be developed, that matters a lot. Then even without referring, you think, this is the competency that I have to actually develop through this. This is the competency level related to that competency. So that is not overnight, Pute. So for some time, maybe for 5-10 years, you would be actually referring to the guides and you come to know them. And then later on that you don't have to refer to. But as novice teachers, you definitely have to refer to them. Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am. We have to
Ma'am.
refer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now that I mean, so always you have to actually, if it is a Cambridge lesson, they have their teacher guides. If it is local syllabus, they have their teacher guides. So lesson from the textbook, you have to go to the refer to the teacher guide and see what is the competency, what is the competency level. So
Yeah.
later on, out of the textbook that you're selecting, you get the insight. Using this material that I can teach this. That of course, you have to actually like a Bloom's wheel. You need a lot of experience. That is what. But that experience you get while working on them. So as novice teachers, always you have to do resourcing. Resourcing, right? Okay. So I want to just introduce that to you. So now I will actually share English one with you. English, yeah, this is civic education. Is it being shared? Yes, no? Civic education?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm showing you. Now, this is grade 6 civics. So you have a civic lesson, you have to refer to the teacher guide. So you go to the teacher guide and see what are the competencies and competency levels, right? Depending on your subject, that you have to be thorough with the competency and the competency levels, okay? You don't have to know all the subjects. Now, if it is English, that you have to know what are the English competencies, what are the competency levels. If it is science, what are the competencies, what are the competency levels. Levels you can't keep in mind because there are very many, but competencies are limited. Competencies are limited, okay, maybe less than 10. Big ones. Levels, there are so many levels, okay. Now here, let's see in civic education, what are the competencies, Kela? Here, first, here the first one. Our school contributes to the development of the school society as an active member. What is the competency one? Contributes to the development of the school society as an active member. So then what are the levels, competency levels? Investigate the beginning and expansion of the school. 6.1 investigates the organizational structure of the school. Level 3, understands the necessity of information about oneself as a member of the school society. There's another level, carries out relevant tasks with a plan and organization as a member of the school society. Another level is there for that, confirms the rules and regulations and traditions within the school culture. We'll go to competency level 2. Here, other levels also, 6.7 when I now the competency level, big one. Competency level. The area we live in. The first one is related to the school. The second one is related to the area we live in. It's the human and physical resources of the area to contribute to the well-being of society. So it has several levels. So likewise, always when you want to do a lesson, you have to cross-check the competency and the competency levels with the teacher guides. Are you okay?
Yes, ma'am. We are okay.
So I will actually show you now an English one.
Okay. ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Let me open an English one. Okay. English. Right. Now this is English language teachers guide. It's a grade 9 one. So normally English language competencies are 8. How many competencies are there in English language teaching?
8.
8.
Why? There are 4 macro skills, 4 micro skills. Macro skills are listening, speaking, reading, writing. Micro skills are mechanics of writing, punctuation marks and all that. Capital, simple, punctuation marks, mechanics of writing. Then pronunciation, vocabulary and grammar. So always there are 8 competencies, but each competency has its own levels. Sometimes 21 levels. Like that, there can be different levels. So we will have a look at this English one, the competency and the competency levels. Okay, now look at this. Yeah. What is the first competency? Can you read? Identifies the sounds of English language. That is pronunciation related. That is the competency one. Identifies the sounds of English language. So 1.1 is the level. Pronounces English words properly. 1.2 reads aloud different types of text accurately and meaningfully. 1.3 pronounces English words and phrases properly. Now number 2. Look at number 2. What is number 2? Competency 2.
Uses mechanics of writing with understanding.
With understanding. Uses mechanics of writing. So there are levels. Uses commas with understanding. Right? Only one level given here. Uses commas with understanding. There are actually others, maybe inverted commas and semicolon, colon, how to use colon. All that are levels. So what is the third competence in English? Engages in active listening and responds appropriately. So it's listening. So there are levels. Listens to a simple text for specific information. Listens and transfers information to other forms like that. Identify different intonation patterns and use of word stress. Building up vocabulary using words appropriately and accurately to convey precise meaning. That is number 4, vocabulary. So there are levels. I'm not reading. You can refer to. Number 5 is reading. Extract necessary information from various types of texts. That is reading related. Number 6 is grammar. Uses English grammar for the purpose of accurate and effective communication. So there are construct simple sentences. Level. Uses pronouns appropriately and level related to grammar. Uses adjectives properly. Uses prepositions appropriately. Uses conjunctions appropriately. Uses adverbs appropriately. Uses the conditional clauses appropriately. 6.10. Like that, there are levels. Number 7 is related to writing. Use English creatively and innovatively in communication. So there are levels. Describing people, describing pictures, writing personal purposes, writes instructions like that. So number 8 is communicates clearly and fluently and concisely. That is speaking. Describe people, animal, objects, speaks on familiar topics. Describes the position of things accurately like that. So you can't actually write a lesson plan without the teacher guide and the textbook both. You have to have the lesson, you have to have the competency and the competency levels cross-checked with the teacher guide. So if it is a part actually out of the syllabuses, if it is a paper cutting that you're using, if it is video announcement that you're using, still you have to match using this material, which competency and which competency level that I'm going to actually cater to. Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that is actually, it comes with experience. Okay. Experience means you have to do it. So then you have to actually, always cross check when you use outside. Now, not in the textbook, not in the workbook, but you are using your own materials. Still, you have to see what competency level. For that, you can actually go to the teacher guide and see whether I'll be able to actually develop this competency and competency level by using this activity. Hope that it's clear to you. Am I right? Am I right? Clear?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah. So it's not 100% clear. Now I'm telling you what you're supposed to do. So I have actually chosen for this English language lesson. I thought it's easy for everyone to know because we all know English. Huh? We will look at another lesson also. So I'm discussing English language. It's a grade 10, lesson 10. It's a grade, suppose this is conditional grade 9.
9. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, right. So then you can say competency. It's grammar related. So you have to go to the teacher guide and see. You have to go to teacher guide and see. Grammar is which competency? The big competency is competency 6. Uses English grammar for the purpose of effective and accurate communication. And then what is the level related to conditional clauses? You have to refer to the guide and see. So the competency level is 6.10 under grammar. 10. Uses the conditional clauses appropriately. Even if it is science, even if it is civics, even if it is religion, you have to do the same, right? You have to refer to the competencies and competency levels and match it with the lesson you're going to do, right? So then you have to actually say integrated skills. If it is language, if it is actually science, if it is maths and all that, still you can say, what are the integrated skills? I will tell you now, you're going to teach them. I'm deviating from this. You're going to teach the students a science lesson. And we are not going to explain because we are student-centered. We are using 5E model constructivism. So we are going to actually ask the students, give them tasks. And then we give them listening or reading tasks with noticing activities. So what are the integrated skills to teach science? You get them to listen and then do a task. So integrated skill will be listening ability. You get them to read and do a task. Then integrated will be reading. It is even in science lesson, you can do that, but it's not a must. But in language, you have to actually say, though it is a grammar you're teaching, how you're going to teach grammar, what activities are used. So you will see it when we discuss this, okay? I have said listening, speaking, reading, writing, all the 4 here. Let's see. So the time, duration of the lesson, it's also another component. It's 40-minute lesson. So I'm writing this lesson plan for a 40-minute lesson. Then you have to write the learning teaching materials that you're using. Remember, we don't say whiteboard markers, whiteboard and all that, blue tack and all that. No. ever obsolete. Now it's not actually the activities and materials that you are using. What material, what activities are used. That is what is written in learning teaching material. Forget about this for a while. Because we actually have to develop the lesson and then come back to this. So a column එක තියන්න ඕනේ. That row you have to leave aside for a. Then specific objectives. Now I have taught you how to write the specific objectives. How to make it related to the 3 domains. How to make them smart. So අපි දන්නවා at the end of the lesson, students will be able to. What are the cognitive domain related ones here? Can you read? Now I have written the specific objectives of the lesson. So what are the cognitive domain related ones?
Student will be able to form the verbs in if clause type 1 sentences.
Form the verbs in if clause type 1 sentences. Okay. Are there other cognitive ones?
Use if clause type 1 sentences in giving a strong advice.
Yeah, correct. What about the third one? Accept the importance of maintaining healthy relationships. Which is the domain?
Affective.
Yeah, very good. Enjoy working with others.
Affective.
Yeah, very good. Then act out a role play on health advice.
Psychomotor.
Very good. So these are not actually magic. If you refer to the teacher guides, they are there. The thing is that you have to resource and find out. You have to resource and find out. You understand? They are there in the teacher guides. Okay? You can't take them as it is. But what is applicable, what is right, and then little bit of changes, you can do and write. So first thing is, in writing a lesson plan, I told you, you write the specific objectives of the lesson. That means at the end of the lessons, what the students would be able to do, referring to the 3 domains and the SMART objectives. So it's done here now. Learning teaching materials come before that, but you have to actually leave it aside for a while. First, you have to formulate the lesson objectives. Now it's done. So coming to the next, learning teaching process, that is how you are going to conduct the stages of the lesson. So we are 5E teachers because it's highly student-centered. If it is 5E, what is the first stage? We are not writing it's the stage this, we say stage 1, 2 like that. But what's this first stage in the 5E?
Engagement.
Engagement. Others? Silent people. What's the first stage?
Engagement phase.
Engagement stage. What's the purpose of engagement stage? What's the purpose of engagement stage?
Recalling previous knowledge.
Recalling prior knowledge. Recalling prior knowledge, which, because students are not empty vessels. They have their prior knowledge. And students have to actually discover new knowledge. If the students have to discover new knowledge, that they have to actually make use of existing knowledge which is useful in discovering new knowledge today. So teachers have to actually recall the prior knowledge the students have, which is helpful, which is relevant in understanding the today's lesson. So that is the teacher's task. You're correct there. Then stage 1 of this lesson would be recalling relevant prior knowledge. Now I ask you a question. The lesson is if clauses type 1. So you know your English now. Tell me if clauses type 1 now, what prior knowledge is helpful in understanding the today's lesson, discovering new knowledge? What
Knowledge
prior
about,
knowledge they have is helpful.
knowledge about simple present and simple future tense.
පුතේ මට මාව ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ. හයියෙන් කියන්න.
Knowledge about simple present and simple future tense.
Yeah. Simple present tense and present modals. Simple present and the present modals. What is it? Simple present and the present modal. It's not only simple future. Will plus stem විතර නෙවෙයි. Can plus stem, shall plus stem, must plus stem. So අපි කියන present modal කියලා. They already know these. They know simple present tense. They know present modals. Shall එක base form, can එක base form, make a base form, they know. So that knowledge is very helpful for them. So know it already, so it's their prior knowledge. So definitely the teacher can actually think of recalling prior knowledge. Because during the first stage, engagement stage, it's recalling knowledge, then the students become active, students become interested in the lesson, students are motivated. So you recall prior knowledge relevant. So you can actually recall, there's no the way of planning, but as you said, it's very appropriate if you recall the simple present and present modal knowledge. So normally it's done as a whole class activity because that is thing that they already know. So those who are willing, they can actually take part in actively. So teacher can make it open because something they know, they don't have to work in groups and share knowledge and all that, they know it. So it's a whole class activity. Normally the engagement activity is a whole class activity. So I have actually planned a lesson like activity like that. Before that, tell me you understand what we are discussing?
Yes, ma'am.
Others?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, right. So then, අපි ලියන විදිය පස්සේ බලමු. I will get you to look at the activity I have planned. Now, this is the activity I have planned for the engagement activity. Normally, the activities are given after the lesson plan as annexures. This is the first activity. What is it? Match A and B. I have given it a theme because always we present language thematically, not isolated sentences, right? Ekanisa thematically, my friends. So here A, Sam writes novels, Meena speaks Tamil, Kathy works hard to win the competition, Sarah plays the guitar, like that. I have actually put simple present tense in the column A. They don't have to know if clauses for that. In the column B, I have put the present modal. She will become first. He may join the school orchestra. We must seek advice from our teachers. He can win the award of the best young writer one day. So they have to match A and B. So for example, if you take Sam writes novels, he can win the award for the best young writer one day. They can match going by the meaning. And by doing that, the teacher gets them to look at simple present tense sentences and present modal sentences, what they already know. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
So then you can actually lead a discussion. Now go back to the lesson plan, how it is written. Now this is how it is written. බලන්න හොඳට මොකද ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියන්න එපේ. Learning teaching process stage 1. So normally we spend about maximum 7 minutes. So this can be done in 5 minutes because everything is actually prepared. Activities are brought to the class by the teacher. We discuss them in student-centered class. Teacher has a lot of homework. She has to bring everything to the class. No? Right. So this is how the STEM is written. The teacher. Stage 1, 5 minutes. The teacher. Bullets dala liyanava. Displays activity sheet. My friends on blackboard. That activity sheet is given in Annex 1. Actually, this is a whole class activity, no? So you can actually bring that activity in a bristle board or a demi paper, a big one, right? So displays activity sheet may be enlarged copy of the activity. My friends on blackboard. That activity is given in Annex 1. That is how the lesson plan is written, okay? So second bullet, the teacher gets the volunteers because it's a whole class activity. Those who like, they can actually volunteer to do it. So activity in the 5. So gets volunteers to match B. So you call the activity. There are column A, there is column B. They have to match it, going by meaning. That is what you get them to do. Then third one, the teacher gets students to read the sentences they match to the class. Now, after they match it, teacher gets the students to read the sentences to the class. That is a activity, a simple activity for 5 minutes because everything is not ready-made activities. It's a matter of putting the demi paper on the wall, on the blackboard, and then get the students to match A and B. So you get them to actually recall their simple present tense knowledge, their present modal knowledge. It's being recalled. Then teacher, after getting the students to read the sentences they matched, the teacher leads a discussion. Normally we call it discussion box. Okay, this is how it is written. Okay. The teacher leads a discussion on the verb formation of simple present tense and the present modal. Teacher will ask, what is the tense form here? What's the tense form here? How it's formed? Like we need a discussion with them, recalling their knowledge. So they say he nang is form, she nang base form, like they will say. So present simple, he, she, it singular noun form, I, we, you, they base form, present modal can, will, shall, must, may plus base form. So that is discussed after getting them to see that. They can easily understand because something that they already know. And that knowledge is going to be helpful for the discovery of new knowledge. Now, if clause type 1. And after actually leading the discussion in the discussion box, you have to put expected answers here for the activity 1. Only the answers. Activity is in Annex 1. But here the answers. So all this, when you prepare activities, you have to make sure the questions are numbered. The questions are numbered. Then you can use the number and put the answer here. Any questions on the first activity? I want you to talk. Please ask questions.
No, ma'am.
It's clear, ma'am.
Yeah, Kiana. Yes, Putta.
Yeah, it's clear, ma'am. No questions.
It's clear. So will you be able to write your lesson plan like this?
Yeah, ma'am.
Right. Then you come to the second one, stage 2. What should be the stage 2 of the lesson? What should be the stage 2 of the lesson? What activity? 5E model again, Ethan. You have to think of the 5E model now. What should be the next activity?
Exploration phase.
Very good. Exploration activity. So exploration activity is that you present the new knowledge to the students to discover. You present the new knowledge to the students. They have to work it out, the grammar rule. Okay. Now stage 2 of the lesson. We go to the stage 2 of the lesson. Right. Normally, the exploration activity, half of the class time, you can spend 20 minutes, half of the class time. Okay. Half of the class time. So that exploration activity is you're presenting a new grammar. Now it's if clauses type 1 in a reading or listening passage. In a reading or listening passage, you present the grammar rule. Is it enough? Only the reading passage or listening passage given, is it enough? The material now you use. You have to give them a task, na pute. You remember that, no? In 5E model, we are not explaining anything. Students have to discover knowledge. So last time also we discussed that. So this time also we don't go and teach, this is a conditional clause 1. So this is how it is formed and all that. We are not going to teach. You instead that you get them to actually discover the grammar rule here. If it is science, the life cycle of the butterfly, they have to discover. How are you going to get them to discover? You get them to listen or read a material, listen to a text or read a text. Is it enough? Along with the listening or reading material, what else should be given? These are discussed. Last time also discussed. මොනවද අපි තව දෙන්න ඕනේ? Listen කරන්න කියලා නිකන් එකක් දෙනවද? Read කරන්න කියලා නිකන් එකක් දෙනවද? ඒවත් එක තව මොනවද දෙන්න ඕනේ?
Give them tasks to explore.
Definitely, yes. Very good. What do we call these tasks? That is the focus. ඒගොල්ලෝ නැත්තම් වෙන වෙනේව බලාවි ඒකේ තියෙන නේද? අපිට අවශ්‍ය දේ දිහාට අපි එයාලගේ අදහස යොමු කරගන්න ඕනේ. What they should be what they should notice. What should be noticed? අපි කියනවා noticing activities දෙනවා based on the material. මොනවාද අපි දෙන්නේ? Noticing activities based on the material. නැත්තම් අපි මොනවා හරි සින්දුවක් අහන්න කියනවා. මේ සින්දුවේ තියෙනවා adjectives. ඒගොල්ලෝ සින්දුවේ වෙන වෙන දේවල් ලස්සන music එක අහලා ඉඳි adjectives ගැන හිතන්නේ නැතුව. So if you really want to teach them adjectives using a song, so listening to the song and you have to give them a focus, they have to actually pay attention to adjectives. The activity should be prepared for that. So similarly, here it's actually conditional type 1. So what should be paid attention? With the material that you have to give them an activity, noticing activity. පැහැදිලි දානේ මං කියන එක?
Yes, ma'am.
So මෙන්න මෙහෙමයි ලෑස්ති කරලා තියෙන්නේ. I will now go to the annex. Okay? And show you the activity. මෙන්න මෙහෙමයි ලෑස්ති. මේක දීව එකක් නෑ. මේ මම ලෑස්ති කරපු විදිය. You can think of a different way, right? හරි. මෙන්න activity 2 එක. මොකද activity 2 එක? Listening script එකක් තියෙනවා. They are going to listen to this. If we have at least one meal together, we will have time to see each other every day. If you help your mom in household chores, she will be very happy. Like that, it's related to family. So listen එකක් දිනවා script එක දීලා නිකන් අහන් ඉන්නකොට වැඩක් නැහැ. We have to give them noticing activities. මෙන්න noticing activity එක. Listen and fill in the blank with the appropriate verb. Listen and filling the blank with the appropriate verb. දෙගොල්ලන්ට හොඳට ඉන්න ඕනේ. So if we have at least මෙතන have. If you help us in your homework, she will. Whatever. ඒ වගේ now they complete. Once they listen and complete, that's another activity given based on the same. Filling the following grid with the verbs in the sentences in activity B. Fill in the following grid with the verbs in sentences in activity 2B. Now here there are verbs, no? these verbs, put them into two columns. Simple present tense verbs here, present modal verbs here. They have to classify. So these are the two activities given. So let's go back and see how it is to be conducted and how it is written in the lesson plan. One of you read stage 2.
The teacher gets students to form groups, gets students to do activity, family bonds, listen and fill in the blanks, Annex 2A, 2B. Get students to present their answers to the class. Get students to do activity, family bonds, simple present versus present models, Annex 2C. Get students to present their answers.
Right. So we look at that. So we gave them a listening task. And then based on the listening task, there are two activities to be done. One is complete the verb. Next one is getting them to actually classify the verbs into simple present and present modals. That is new knowledge නෙමෙයි. Classify කරන එක new knowledge නෙමෙයි. ඊළඟට කොහොමද අපි එහෙම කරාට පස්සේ දැන් මොකක්ද කරන්න ඕනේ අපි? Discussion box. We have to lead a discussion now. We have to lead a discussion now. What is the discussion? The teacher leads a discussion on appropriate verb formation and structure of if clause type 1 and further discusses the meaning and use. Structure of if clause type 1. If clause, simple present tense, result clause, present modals. Use and meaning of if clause, possibility, giving strong advice. So teacher leads a discussion with the students. Now you know there are two clauses. The condition is always given in simple present tense. So you don't have to explain, you ask. In the if clause to give the condition, what is the tense used? So now they can have a look at all the simple present tense verbs are from the if clauses. All the modal presents are from the result clause. They will actually swap. Now you look at the first column. Simple present tense verbs. In which clause do they appear in the sentences? Result clause or condition clause? They look at that. It's the condition clause. Likewise, now they actually analyze it. Teacher helps with the discussion. And after that discussion, you have to always give the answers to the activities. Activity in the annex 2, but the answers here. Expected answers for 2A. Verbically aneka metika. 2C. Complete karaneka metika. Right? After the discussion, what you are going to discuss, and then you have to actually give the answers. So, you know the third stage of 5E is explanation. Explanation means each and every activity that the students do, they have to present their answers to the class. That is explanation. And then teacher leading a discussion. So there's no separate stage for explanation. They are actually part and parcel of exploration, engagement, and elaboration activities. When they do an activity, they have to actually explain their answers to the class. Right? And then what is the next stage then of the lesson, according to the 5E model?
Explanation.
No, explanation man කිව්වනේ දැන්. ඒකට වෙනම එකක් නැහැ. Explanation එනවා engagement stage එකේ answers කියලා. Exploration එකේ answers කියනවා. After each and activity they present their answers and lead a discussion is explanation.
Elaboration.
Then the next is elaboration. Very good. So elaboration එකේදී මොකක්ද අපි කරන්නේ? මොකක්ද purpose එක? What they learned, they have to apply it and do some extended activity. මොකක්ද අපි elaboration එකකින් කරන්නේ? They discovered new knowledge. Now they have to actually use it and do an extended activity. ඒක තමයි exploration. Sorry, elaboration. So normally for elaboration, අපි ආයි නැවත 10 minutes තමයි දෙන්නේ. 10 minutes for the, roughly, right? 10 minutes for the engagement, 10 minutes for the elaboration. more for the exploration because it's time consuming, because they have to work it out on their own. Anyway, definitely it's a group work. Exploration is group work. That day also I discussed why students to form groups, because they need support. You support to discover knowledge. So for that, I have to actually give them corporate learning opportunities. Working in groups, right, is a must for the exploration. So elaboration can be individual or group. If it is in class, better group work. Then this is elaboration activity I have planned. There's no the teacher gets students to do activity friends, fill in the blanks, Annex 3. Get students to present their answers. The teacher leads a discussion on appropriate verb form structure of if clause type 1 and further discusses the meaning and use. So our possibility, advice then we can use clause type 1 and if clause is present simple, result clause is given. And the expected answers for the activity. So let's go and see the activity given. Annex 3. This is an extended activity now. Now they know the grammar rule. So they can easily do it in groups. Fill in the blanks with the correct form of the verb given. If kala තියනවා නම් ඒක simple present. Result kala නම් ඒක modal present. So accordingly they will complete this. And there's another extended activity given. Prepare a dialogue on friendship rules using if clause type 1 to give strong advice and will play it in front of classes. So application of that grammar rule. Grammar rule is applied for speaking, production activity, speaking activity. So prepare a dialogue on friendship rules using if clause type 1 to give strong advice to the role play. So they can make use of this now. Now friendship advice. If you want to make your friends happy, you should respect them like that. You should share your knowledge and food and everything with them. Like that, they will come up. If you think this is a too big task, they find it difficult, my students are not that good in writing, you can actually give them words. They can use them and if not match, one part is given, the other part only that they have to write. Likewise, you can actually simplify as well. So this is how the if clauses type 1 is actually taught using the 5E model. And this is how actually the lesson plan is written. Stage 3, stage 4. So here the teacher gets the students to act out a playlet. Friendship rules using if clause. If you listen to your friend, you can be a great friend. So accept any suitable answer. Because the answer එකක් නෑ ලියන්න answers के. Expected answers නෑ. නිසා accept any suitable answer. හැබැයි, whatever the lesson, what is the last stage of 5E model?
Elaboration.
What's the last stage? Huh? What's the last stage of 5E model? Evaluation. Evaluation means assessing your child. Assessment is like explanation all throughout the lesson. Each and every activity is an opportunity for you to assess whether they have learned it or not. Am I right? Each and every activity is an opportunity for the teacher to assess whether they have learned it or not. That is why you get them to present answers, okay? So assessment criteria, make it very simple. Assessment criteria is form the verbs in if clause type 1 sentence, use if clause type sentence, give strong advice. Only the cognitive domain specific objectives are written as assessment criteria. Because why? Attitudes and psychomotor, you can't actually expect them to develop them just in one period. They are actually long processes. But cognitive domain, you expect them to actually learn it at the end of the lesson. So normally for assessment criteria, you take the cognitive domain specific objectives written here. The cognitive domain are these two. The other three are affective and psychomotor. They are not actually taken as assessment criteria. You actually assess whether they can form the verb in if clause type 1, whether they can use if clause type 1 sentences to give strong advice. Okay? ඒ දෙක දානවා යටින් assessment criteria. That also happens all throughout the lesson by getting them to do activities. And then reflection. Reflection එක තුන් දෙවිදියකට ලියනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ. Now, of course, we have to write 3 reflections. Reflection in, reflection for, and reflection on කියලා. But we will not do like that. You write, once you actually conduct the lesson, you can write the reflection, whether the lesson was a success, what kind of improvements that you are supposed to do if you are to do it next time, what were the difficulties faced by the students, what were the good points about the lesson and all that. Each and every lesson, once you complete it, you have to write the reflection. That is also an important criteria of a lesson plan. Assessment criteria, reflection. So what are the components of lesson plan then? Tell me. Date, grade, class, subject, lesson, competency level, integrated skills, time, learning, teaching materials, specific objectives, learning, teaching process as stages, and then actually assessment criteria and reflection. Assessment criteria and reflection. Assessment criteria should come here. Assessment criteria and then reflection. Is it clear to you or what?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know I don't want you to know everything and be perfect on the first day itself. It doesn't happen. It won't happen. But have you got some idea that how to write a lesson plan?
Yeah, ma'am.
There are 12 of us. Afra, Dilini, Fatma, Vidhan, Salma, Situmi, Sulochana. Have you got an idea?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you don't have to think, Kane, I have to actually, yes, you have actually, I will send this to you. So you have format. And then you have to refer to teachers' guides, textbooks, workbooks, and you have to work Bloom's taxonomy wheel, action wheel. And you have to actually do a little bit of resourcing before you write a lesson. Now we look at this. What is this? Admin is enabled to companion. Ask admin to enable or cancel. Now look at this. Now you can actually write learning teaching materials. As I told you, chalk, marker pens, you don't write them. But the materials and the activities that you use. Now here, for the first activity, engagement activity, you use an activity sheet. And you have put a title, My Friends, Annex 1A. So Annex 1A, after the lesson plan, you can see the annex. Annex 1A. Okay. So then you go to the material for the second sentence strips, abilities and possibilities. Annex 1B. Right? Then this is something, audio clip, family bonds, Annex 2A. So I don't audio clip, instead the audio text is there, listening script. Annex 2A. That is material. So Annex 2A ke tava eva තියෙනවා. Activity 2A ke there are 3 materials used. Audio clip, activity sheet, family bonds, fill in the blank, Annex 2B, activity family bonds, simple present versus present modules, Annex 2C. So always activities are numbered and named, titled. Number එක යන්නේ, if it is the first activity, Annex 1. Right? If it is a second activity, it's Annex 2. If it is the third activity, it's Annex 3. Habai, one activity has 3 materials. Now, for example, Annex 2 එක, you have the audio clip, it is 2A. It has the first task sheet, they have to listen and complete the verbs, it's Annex 2B. There's another task sheet, they have to put into 2 columns, simple present verbs and modal verbs, that is 2C. And here, you have others also. This is not put here. What is it? Activity sheet. මොකක්ද දීලා තියෙන activity sheet එක ඊළඟ එක? And we have stage 3 activity. What is it? Friends. Annex 3, friends. Right? This is Annex 3. You look at this. Fill in the blanks with the correct forms of the verb given. Annex 3. Friends. So you can write it here. Annex activity sheet. Friends. It's given in Annex 3. එකයි තියෙන්නේ එකට. And then you have another activity sheet for the stage 4. That is playlet. Right? Playlet. Playlet. That is Annex 4. Now you can go and see. It's a small instructions given, but there should be an activity. Now, prepare a dialogue on friendship rules. That is Annex 4. So now it is complete. So these are the learning teaching materials you are using. So you know everything is numbered, everything is titled, and you are very well prepared when you walk into the class and no time is wasted. The lesson flow is there because teacher knows what is to be done first, what is to be done next, what is to be done thereafter. That's the purpose of lesson planning, and teacher has lots of work for homework. In the student-centered 5E model class, it's all activity-based, and the teachers have to prepare activities and bring them to the class and get the students to do the activity and discover new knowledge. What do you think? You got some idea?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Now I have to tell you something. Do you want to actually have a look at another one? Or this is enough? Because last time also I actually discussed it a lot. What do you think? Is this enough, or you want to actually discuss another one? Because your assessment is based on this, and as teachers that you should be skilled in doing that as well. What do you think? You want to look at some other subject? Or enough? You have to
Madam,
talk,
we'll say another one.
Sorry?
We'll say another one.
Okay.
Better.
See another one. So then next time, before I actually show you another science or some other subject, I want to tell you, I will be sending these samples. Okay. You have to actually go to NIE website. You can download textbooks. You can download teacher guides. You can select a lesson. You can refer to the teacher guide and cross-check the competency and competency level. And like this, you have to actually take time and develop your own one and bring it to the class. So we will share and discuss what's to be improved, what is actually not right, what is all good and all that. So then we have a discussion. So we are looking at several lesson plans done by you. We are fine-tuning them. So that is the best way to learn this. Okay,
Okay, ma'am. That's fine.
Yeah, so you have to do that. Okay, so let me open another one. Wait. Wait, Right. So we are looking at some other subject. Did we discuss this ecosystems? No. Last time, did we discuss ecosystems?
No, ma'am.
This is a science lesson then. So we will actually look at a lesson plan. Is it being shared? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Now the date. 7th July. Subject science. Grade 6. Class may be B. Time 40 minutes. Then learning objectives. If not specific objectives. I prefer the term what? Specific objectives of the lesson. So they are smart. So at the end of the lesson, students will be able to read the first one and tell me which is the domain.
Cognitive domain.
Yeah. Identify the organization of an ecosystem. So it's cognitive domain. So go to the next one. Define the levels of an ecosystem.
Cognitive.
Yeah. Ekkana idu katha karane anitha. Third one.
Value the dependence of each level of an ecosystem.
Very good. Next one. What is the domain?
Affective.
Yeah. Next one.
Work cooperatively in groups.
Domain.
Psychomotor.
Yeah, no. Work cooperatively. It's effective, no? Yeah.
Effective.
Yeah. Then
Make a poster on organization of an ecosystem with their own creations.
so that is it. What is it, the
Psychomotor.
domain? Psychomotor. Very good. So let's see other activities. Ella. Learning teaching materials we will look at later on, right? Now here, how it's being actually step 1 or stage 1. Step 1 or stage 1. The learning teaching process. Step 1 or stage 1. The teacher. Time 5 minutes. Displays the activity sheet following prior knowledge. Displays the activity sheet, activity 1, components of an ecosystem, annex 1 on the blackboard. So this is actually, they have done this before, right? This lesson is about identify the organization of an ecosystem. Define the levels of an ecosystem. So this knowledge which is relevant is done before. So in the first one, engagement activity, you recall that knowledge. Displays the activity sheet, activity components of an ecosystem. So identify components, they have done it before. So you're going to get them to recall that knowledge. So you have a whole class activity. You display the activity sheet on the board. Annex 1 on the blackboard. So let's go to the Annex 1 and see. This is Annex 1. Complete the grid. Okay, complete the grid. Yeah. This is Annex 1. What is this, man? It's going up and down. Here. Components of an ecosystem. Forest. biotic factors, abiotic factors, no? Am I right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Science paper. How do you pronounce this? How do you pronounce this?
Your one is correct, no?
Abiotic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then this is already done. The previous lesson maybe. So forest, biotic factors and abiotic factors. So Eka Lama volunteerism because they know recalling prior knowledge. So this is how it is written. An enlarged copy of activity 1, complete the grid as given in Annex 1. So it is Annex 1. Textbook page 9. No, not this. No, this is the learning teaching materials. Now you make up. Right. Now this is what how you're going to write the lesson plan. Step 1. Displays the activity sheet, activity 1, components of an ecosystem, Annex 1 on Blackboard. Gets volunteers to complete the activity sheet. Leads a discussion recalling prior knowledge on components of an ecosystem. Recalling prior knowledge. The teacher leads a discussion on the components of an ecosystem, biotic and abiotic factors. These are the answers. Biotic factors, living ones, lions, tigers, birds, monkeys, reptiles in the forest. Abiotic, non-living, minerals, rivers, rocks, like that. So they can easily do that because they know it already and it's recalled because it's needed for the today's lesson. Accept any suitable answer because they will come and write some other things also. Accept any suitable answer. Is it clear to you, Pute? Tell me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Now go to the stage 2 or the step 2. According to 5E model, what is this stage about?
Exploration.
Exploration. Today's lesson, right? Identify the organization. Balana අපි ගිහලා මොනවද අපි ලියලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. Identify the organization of an ecosystem and define the levels of the ecosystem. ඒක තමයි දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ discover කරගන්න ඕනේ because 5E එකේ they have to discover. So get students to form groups. Always the exploration activity is a group work because they have to actually work with others and discover new knowledge, right? The teacher gets students to form groups. Distributes the activity sheet. Activity 2.1 match A and B. Activity 2.2 true or false, Annex 2.2. Get students to read textbook page 9 to 13, Annex 2.1 and complete the activities, Annex 2.1. Get the students to present the answer. Now this is a reading one, right? Teacher gets the students to read the textbook, page 9 to 13. So it is Annex 2.1, the page, textbook page. And there are 2 activities set. After reading this activity, after reading this material text, they have to do activity 2.1 match AB, activity 2.2 true or false. Api gin balamu what are the activities kela now. They are given as annexures here. Sure. Now here, this is the textbook. Levels of organization in an ecosystem. Men. These are the levels. Right? Biosphere, biome, ecosystem, community, population, and individual. Right? This is the textbook, reading material. So this is reading material. They are explained, biosphere and explained. Now they have to do activity 1, match A and B. Organization of an ecosystem. Individual, what is the definition? Population, what is the definition? Community, what is the definition? You have to number them properly. So you don't have to write the lesson plan. Expected answers, you can say 1. This is like that. You can easily put the numbers and give the answers. So workbook, you have to number them. So activity 2.2 is based on the same reading material. The students have to say whether it's true or false. A population includes individuals of different species. In an ecosystem, the biotic and abiotic factors interact with each other like that. So they are given in the reading passage. They have to say true and false. So now you are getting them to work with others in a group. So they can easily do, they will enjoyably do that. So then you go to the lesson plan and see. Right, this is the exploration activity. This is the exploration activity. Here, get students to form groups, distribute activity sheet 2.1, match A, B, activity 2.2, true and false. Get students to read textbook page. Get students to present the answer. That is explanation. So here answers are given. Right? Answers are given. Then activity 2, true or false. As they are numbered, it's easy. Only the answer can number and the answer given. Then I think teacher leads a discussion. No? Teacher leads a discussion then. Give me a එතකොට දැන් මෙතන ඔයාලා දැන් lead a discussion. Teacher leads a discussion කියලා එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. බලමු මොනවාද teacher leads a discussion එකේ. මෙතන teacher leads the discussion. The teacher leads a discussion on levels of an organization in an ecosystem. තර මේ answers වල ඒ ටික තියෙනවා. මොනවද discuss කරන්න කියලා. What are the levels and their definitions? And what is the next activity according to the 5E?
Elaboration.
Elaboration, because explanation is throughout, evaluation is throughout. Very good. So the elaboration activity, the teacher. So what they already learned, discovered, they are going to apply that, do something more. Right? So the teacher distributes the activity sheet, activity 3, organization of an ecosystem. Annex 3.1 and sets homework. And now time nothing is like homework then teacher. Instruct students on homework. Get students to watch the video clip on organization and levels of an ecosystem, Annex 3.2. To provide assistance for students to do homework. Video ekakut denawa. So බලමු මොනවද video එක activity sheet එක for homework as the exploration. Time factor නිසා exploration එක කරන්නේ homework වලට. So what is it? Teacher gives a video link. That video link එක මෙතන ඇත්තේ. Right here. Video ecosystem link is not there, but you are giving them a video link. Video ecosystem. And get them to actually complete this. Right? Earthworm, what is his ecosystem? Right? What are their works? Like that, the students have to do it for homework and bring. And then you see what are the assessment criteria. Now look at the specific objectives and tell me what should be the assessment criteria of this lesson. What should be, it's going up and down. What should be the assessment criteria of that lesson? Look at this and tell. It's only the cognitive domain ones. So what are the assessment criteria that you have to put at the end? What will you assess? Whether the students will be able to do killer, what will you be assessing your students on?
Define the levels of an ecosystem.
And identify the organization of an ecosystem and define the levels of an ecosystem. Only those two, because they are only cognitive domain related. Okay. And then you have to once reflection, once it's done, you can do the reflection. That is it. So I think actually I will send you the samples. Now it's a matter of actually getting you to do your own works. Am I right? Am I right? We have discussed enough, no?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, this is a history one by a student of mine actually, but that English one nang I showed you today, that is done by me for the purpose of showing you. But what I'm showing you now, the ecosystem and this, they are done by my students. They may not be perfect. Now, any questions on this? Any questions on this? So will you be able to write a lesson plan using the 5E model and bring it to the class next day for discussion? Will you be able to? You have a week's time anyway. You have to respond to me. Is it difficult or you can? I don't want you to be perfect. So what you have to actually take your own time. You have to work hard. You have to set aside some time, refer to the sample that I'm sending, recall what we actually do. You get the recording, you can listen to it again. And then you have to collect the materials you need, the textbook, the teacher's guide and all that, the Bloom's wheel. And then you have to actually tire yourself and give it a try. And then you bring it to the class, then we can discuss. There's no any other way, no? Am I right? Or is there any other way that I can help you with this? Any suggestions?
We'll do it one, madam.
We will.
Yeah.
You will
I-
do it and bring. Eh, mother?
Oh,
Very good. Every one of you, are you sure?
but time.
You have to think, work hard. You have a week's time, no? How can you actually do your studies, read for degrees and all that if you have no kind of commitment? It's a must. Anyway, I can actually ask you to do like that also. Are you on WhatsApp? You all are using WhatsApp. You have a WhatsApp group? ඔගොල්ලෝ WhatsApp group එකක ඉන්නවද?
Do we have?
Are you
No,
on a
no.
WhatsApp group? නෑ. You communicate through WhatsApp නේද with each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Now forget about that කතා කරන්න නැත්තා.
Not all, some communicate
Some are
with each
there.
other.
No,
Yeah,
I
ma'am.
thought now pairs you can form pairs and two of you get together and write one.
That's
Something
great,
like
ma'am.
that is also you can do. So for that you
Okay.
have to use WhatsApp. You can talk to each other on WhatsApp and then develop one this after discussing and bring one. So there are 12 now, there will be 6 then. So we
Yeah.
can actually
Yeah, that's better, ma'am.
yeah, that's
Mm.
better, no?
Yeah.
Or now you can be in groups of 3 people. So there will be 4 groups then. Can I put you into groups?
Sure, ma'am. That's great.
Right. So now I put now the first is Channa, then Fatima and Afra. Can you 3 be in one group? No, we will go by the subject, no? Channa,
Yeah,
what is
ma'am.
your subject?
English, ma'am.
So who are the other English people?
Salma.
Kauda?
Salma.
Then Channa, Salma, then Anithakana joining Channa.
Sanjit. Sanjit.
Sanjit. All right. Then Channa, Salma, and Sanji can be in one group. You all have to actually discuss through WhatsApp and develop one lesson plan. Today itself, I'm sending it to the institute. You can get it from the institute. So then you can refer to that. As I told you, listen to the recording, collect materials, go through them and try to do it better. So one group is මට ආයි කියන කවුද කියලා Channa,
Salma and Sanji.
Right, okay. Then any others, anybody into some other subject? What about Fatima?
I'm English.
You also English. So are there
Yeah.
any other English people? Fatima?
Ma'am, I am also Shara.
Kawuda wage nama?
Shara.
Tara.
Tara.
Shara.
Fatima, Shara, then some other girl can join them.
What about Shamala? Shamala is there.
Fatima, Shara and Shamala in one. Okay? Shamala also English there.
No, madam, I'm fine.
Huh? You're a maths teacher.
No science teacher.
Science. So then you can't join them. So who is any other English teacher to join them?
Here me also, ma'am.
කවුදානේ වගේ නම කියන්න I'm joining you කියන්න.
Dilini, madam.
Okay. Now there are 3 people there. Then science people to join Shamla.
Afra, ma'am.
Afra, Shamla. Some other girl can join. For a science lesson. Shamla, Afra. The nam kiyapu නැති අය මොනවටද යන්නේ? Dilini, where you are going to be? Idanage, are you going to be there? Maybe they are not connected, no? Sulochana? They are not there. අනේ බොරුවට connect වෙලා ඉන්නේ මං හිතන්නේ. සිතුමි. අයියෝ. Then I tell you, you all form your own groups then, right? Then prepare lesson plans, right? Then do a good job and bring then only that I can actually show you how to improve it, what are good points about it. Then it will be a help for you to actually get ready for your final presentation as well. So that is it. So then Shamla, you have to find some other girl also to your group. And there are others, those who did not actually talk, I couldn't put them into groups as well. So get them to form their own groups then, okay? Right. Then I want to show you something else. Now I stop this. The next is, we have another 15 minutes. During that 15 minutes, I will show you the kind of, now this is all about learning, teaching, educational technology, learning, teaching process, right? So we talk about this specific objectives of a lesson, and then competencies, competency levels, and all that. And you have to know they are at the delivery point. Now you actually as the teacher at the delivery point, that you all actually have specific objectives formulated for each and every lesson. But they are not actually, you're not doing it in actually separating it from the rest of the big picture. The big picture is, right, these specific objectives that you formulate, they are always in alignment with the sub-syllabus and the educational goals of the country. So I'm going to show you this alignment, because any teacher who is to decide on approaches, methods, and techniques, and how to implement learning, teaching in the class, they should actually know what ultimate goal is there for you to actually realize through your educational ventures. So for that, I will show you a document. Let me actually open that first. Right. Is it being shared? English grade 5 එක?
Yes, ma'am.
So you look at, we have first the national goals of the country, right? This is, wait, national goals of the country. Here, look at this. So the 40-minute lesson that you do in the class contributes to the realization of national goals of the country. So national goals is not only through education that the country wants to actually realize it. Jatika sports, tourism, trade, travel, education, health, sports, all these kind of departments, right? All these industries have a role to play in realization of national goals. So we are into education. So you all are teachers. So as teachers, in the class you actually do 40-minute lesson, but ultimate goal of actually that lesson is, though you have some specific objectives like label the parts of a tree, right? State the functions of parts of the tree like that. Ultimate goal is actually realization of national goals. So these are the national goals to be realized through education and others as well, through sports, through travel, through trade and all that, okay? So we also have to contribute. So here, there are 8 national goals. How many national goals? 8 national goals. Now, no teacher can actually by heart this, and it's not, you're not supposed to also, right, to by heart them. But you can actually keep that in mind using 1 or 2 through 3 words, right? Now, if you look at the first one, nation building and the establishment of Sri Lankan identity through the promotion of national cohesion, national integrity, national unity. So you know we are a multicultural society. We have actually different races, different religions. They all actually live in peace. So this is related to that. So you can say this is multiculturalism, right? So we have to promote it through education. Multiculturalism. Each and every class, now you're doing actually an English lesson. So there you lesson on festivals. It's a reading lesson. So you want them to actually develop the ability to scan, comprehend. But what should be the affective domain? They respect different cultures by actually being aware of different festivals celebrated in Sri Lanka. So you are actually contributing to the realization of this first national goal, that is peace, harmony, and living as one nation, national integrity. So the first national goal is that. එතන එක ස්පෝර්ට්ස් වලිනුත් කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒක ට්‍රේඩ් එකෙනුත් කරන්න ඕනේ. Education එකෙනුත් කරන්න ඕනේ. National goals are realized through all the industries. So you see, so you are actually contributing to this. So what's the second one? Recognizing and conserving the best elements of nation's heritage while responding to the challenges of the changing world. So it's like development and nature. Our national heritages, pride in that, our own roots, right? You are very proud of it, so you have to preserve them. So third one is creating and supporting an environment imbued with the norms of social justice and democratic faith, human rights. So this is related to human rights. So promoting mental, physical well-being of individuals, a sustainable lifestyle based on respect of human values. developing creativity, initiative, critical thinking, responsibility. Then human resource development, preparing individuals for the unforeseen situation, rapidly changing world. Fostering attitude skills will contribute. Second, honorable place in international community. So you have to actually produce a global man, global woman. So all these should be realized through each and every lesson. Maybe not all these, but at least one of them you are going to connect these two. So when you think of affective domain, psychomotor domain, so you can think of these 8 national goals and see how you're going to connect it to them. So in the English lesson, if you get them to do a presentation, so you actually get them to actually develop their abilities to become a global individual. So likewise, you are connecting to this and you accordingly write the affective domain, psychomotor domain, specific objectives. So as a teacher, it's very important that the teachers should keep those things in mind. So these national goals, they are not only through education, I'm repeating, but after that you have basic competencies. These basic competencies, another term for basic competencies is educational goals. That is through education, what goals to be achieved. They are limited, they are actually exclusive to education. The national goals, sports, trade, travel, whatever. Here, the basic competencies are through they are, another term is education related. So education, any, whether maths or science or English or sports or aesthetics, whatever, we have to develop these educational goals of basic competencies. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there are 7. So you don't have to actually keep all things in mind. You can just have an idea. What's the first one? Competencies in communication, numeracy, graphics, and IT proficiency. Second one, competencies related to personality development. So emotional intelligence and challenges, problem solving, creativity, eva. Third one, competencies related to the environment. Environment, there are 3 types of environment. Social environment, biological environment, physical environment. What is the social environment? Living with other society. Biological environment, the seas, forests, air, environment. The biological one, okay. So you have to have competencies related to them developing. Physical environment is actually food, clothing, shelter, comfort, respiration, sleep, relaxation, sports, so on. Then competencies related to preparation of world of work. So මොනවාද the world of work එකට එන්නේ? Economic development, vocational job, ඒවට අපුරුදු කරන්නට ඕනේ. They have to actually be planned for a livelihood. Then competencies relation to written ethic, agama, dharma, morals, values. Competencies related to play and leisure. So that is why that they have to engage in sports activities, curricular activities. To them, they can develop their actually personalities and competencies related to learning to learn. Learning to learn, that is why actually we get them to become autonomous learners. The 5E model, giving them tasks, get them to actually take the responsibility of learning. They do it and learn. So learning to learn, that is another competency to be realized through education, through all the subjects, maths or science or English or whatever. And then after that, objectives. Objectives are specific subject related. If you are an English language teacher, these are the English language teaching objectives. If you are a mathematics teacher, if you go to a mathematics teacher's guide, under objectives, you have the mathematics goals, right? If you are a science teacher, now you are going to refer TIMS now. Through science, what are objectives to be realized. They are subject specific. Then ultimately, then you have the classroom lessons and the specific objectives written by you. That is the connection. First, the national goals. National goals are in alignment with educational goals. All the subjects, education goals. Then your own subject, the subject specific objectives. And in the classroom, each and every lesson, you have specific objectives for the lesson. They are in alignment. So always you can actually think and write the specific objectives. If you are very well aware of what are the national goals, what are the educational goals, what are the subject specific goals, Kerala. So for that, you have to actually read them and get to know. Don't buy heart. That is not expected, but you have to read them and have a small summary writing, 2 words, 3 words, phrases for each one, and align them. These are the national goals, alignment. When you align them with the educational goals, this can be matched with this. This can be matched with this. Then the subject you teach, these are subject-specific objectives. They can be matched with this. If you have a kind of a understanding of that, it's very easy for you to look at a lesson and to formulate the cognitive domain. Of course, it's based on the lesson, but formulate the attitudes and the psychomotor domain specific objectives. Is it clear to you? I went on talking. Is it clear to you? Are you okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We were listening.
Others. So what I want you to do is you will go through them, right? And be familiar. Then only that you can actually do a better job as a teacher. Right?
Yeah,
මේවා ගැන
ma'am.
කිසි දෙයක් දන්නේ නැතිව නිකන්
Yeah.
පන්තියට ගිහලා ලෙසන් එකකට මොනවද උගන්වන්නේ කියලා හිතුවට වැඩක් නැහැ. තේරුණානේ?
Yeah.
ඒකයි එකෙන් කියන්නේ. එකෙන් කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ කටපාඩම් කරන්න එපා මේවා. දාලා අදහසක් ගන්න.
Just to
පොඩි පොඩි
understand what
places
they
වලට
expect.
දාලා grid එකක් හදන්න.
Just to understand what they hope from us, yeah, man.
I see. That's the thing, Chanda. Okay. I think that I have given you homework and you can work in groups. Those who are not there, they can form their own groups based on the subject that they teach. And you all can bring 2-3 lesson plans next day. And then we will go through them and fine tune them. Then you are very well prepared for the final day presentation. With that, I will do a small revision and we are done with the module. Then after a month or 1.5 months, it will be your written examination. Okay? Any questions before we stop? No. Hope that you understood something today about lesson planning.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We understood.
Yeah. Then thank you very much and good night.
Good night, ma'am.
See you next week.
Good
then.
night,
Okay,
ma'am.
bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am. See you next week.
Good night. Okay.